Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories People Helping People. I'm Shara Goswick, your host, and I'm so glad that you're here. Today on the podcast, I speak with Teresa Cherry Cruz, who created Cherry Cruz Consultants. Teresa works with school districts and parents to create the best plan for their children in special education. As I have raised a child with autism, I'm very familiar with IEPs and ARD meetings and all the things that go involved in all of that. It can be very stressful, it can be overwhelming, but Teresa's perspective and her knowledge and her experience is a wonderful asset to any team. And that's what it is. It's a team, the parents, the administrators, the teachers. It's a team of people that are working to help their children. I love what she's doing. And one of the things we talked about is our word of the week.
It's the word of the week.
Our word of the week this week is bold. You know, as a parent, I told Teresa, I'm not always the loudest in the crowd. I'm not always the first to speak up. But when it comes to my children, I will be bold. That will get me riled up like a mama bear, like no other. And now my kids are grown, but I still have a son with special needs. And so I still have to speak up for him. And maybe you don't have a child with special needs, but there will be times in your life when you need to be bold. You need to be bold to speak the truth. You need to be bold to speak up for someone. Maybe you see someone that's hurting or that can't help themselves or they don't know what to do. You need to be bold and help them. Everybody's got it in them, even if you're quiet. Usually, even if it's not in your personality to be the loudest and you don't think you're an extrovert, you have it in you to be bold when necessary. And so I hope that you will. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a great day.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm glad that you reached out to me because I've thought about reaching out to you before. I don't know why I haven't. I have a son that has autism. I'm very familiar with special ed programs and IEPs and ARDs and all the things. So
Mhm.
you're the expert in all that, but I can totally relate from a parent's perspective. I think my favorite ARD was his exit ARD when I knew I never had to do it again.
So, I am a speech language pathologist. That's my training. I'm a
Okay.
conversationalist by nature. So, I love talking. I love people, but I'm a speech pathologist by training. I spent 30 plus years in public education.
Okay.
I retired as the director of speech, language, and hearing services for Bridgeport Public Schools in Connecticut. And one of the things being a practicing SLP, as we call them,
Hmm.
and being the director of the services were two different things. And
Yeah.
I got to see both sides. And one of the things that really inspired me was to be able to make sure that students and families were receiving equitable, high quality service.
Yeah.
And so, from a speech pathologist point of view, we're a shortage area, okay, around the nation. It's never enough speech pathologists. And I've watched speech pathologists burn out from
Hmm.
flows for lack of resources, management, those kinds of things. And so, one of the things that I was very blessed to be able to do in the district that I worked in was to build a staff from 16 to 45.
Oh my goodness.
Bridgeport Public Schools was a low socioeconomic status school, minimum resources, and 37 schools. So that district was comprised of 37 schools, 22 community based daycare centers,
Wow.
6, 7 private schools. So it was more need than we have providers,
Yeah.
right? And one of the things I learned was that crises will make you creative.
Hmm.
And so I had to learn how to build and make collaborations and partnerships and build a team to provide high quality services. So that's how it like started.
Yeah.
And what I was able to do was to invest in people. Not
Yeah.
so I partnered with universities and district and invested in my staff as
Yeah.
we grew so that they would be able to provide the quality services. So I poured into them so they can pour into others.
Sure.
And that was not without a struggle because sometimes people don't always see the need. They're more transactional than
Yeah.
transformative. So when you think about special ed and all the things that surround them, litigation, not enough resources, student, success or lack thereof. So when you have all those clouds surrounding it, you become more transactional. Okay, did we check the boxes? Did we have the meeting on time? Was everybody there? And so that
Right.
becomes the issue more so than the quality of services,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so one of the things I used to share with my staff was that the sin is not in identifying students. The sin is in identifying them and not being able to serve.
Right.
That's the issue, you
Sure.
know. And so a lot of times, okay, you may see all these students that need the services, but if you can't give it to them because you have two or three schools or you have
Right.
an overwhelming caseload, it's a mute point and it's really a
Yeah.
strong disservice. Right.
Right.
So having to learn the dynamics and navigate through the systems and the structures of schools and being able to make sure that my staff had everything we need was
Mm-hmm.
the birthplace. So I used to say, when I retire, I'm going to be able to do things my way.
Right.
I'm going to be able to do what's right on behalf of children and families without any issues or any
Right.
voices or any obligations.
Yeah.
And so I would say that, particularly at the height of my frustration, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I retired,
Yeah.
right? And so I retired. I slept a whole year after retiring in 2018, and then COVID came, right?
Ah,
And so a lot of creativity was born during COVID.
yes.
And so as I continue to stay, with my contacts, my staff, the women I mentored to take my position, and
Uh-huh.
all that, we started talking about different things and what was needed. And now it's a different world.
Yeah.
COVID changed the way services could be delivered. So all of that, none of those conversations were born Cherry Cruz Consulting. So what we do is we have a laser focus on speech language pathologists and giving
Mm-hmm.
them the tools to navigate the systems and structures of public schools with resilience so that they are able to really provide the quality services with integrity. So that's what we focus on. That's what we
Yeah.
thrive on. That's what I love because if you don't have it within you, you can't give it to anybody else.
Right.
And so it's about, high team performance, collaboration. So that's the brewing pot, right? That's how
Yeah.
sort of started. And we're still young. We're very,
Yeah.
very new because I'm
Yeah.
still trying to put pieces together. I'm still consulting in my old district, and everything.
Yeah.
But that's where it all stemmed from.
I love that. I love that. And I hope parents will be listening to this who need help with services. But do you work with parents or do you work just directly with the school districts?
Oh, I work with parents. I work with speech pathologists individually, small group. We do coaching
Okay.
and consulting, and I work in school district. Those are my focus because parents, for me,
Mm-hmm.
are the MVP of the team. They
Yeah.
are the most valuable players. And many parents don't know the power that they have. And
Right.
sometimes they feel overwhelmed when you're sitting at a table of all these professionals and all this
Mm-hmm.
technical jargon. How do you know how to navigate? So, what I really try to focus on is bringing cohesiveness to the
Yeah.
team where we're not adversarial. So a lot of
Yeah.
times you'll see litigation, you'll see parent against district, district against parent,
Yes.
when actually the focus is if we can come together and respect one another and brainstorm and design what
Yes.
practices should look like for this student or that because it's no cookie cutter method,
Right.
right?
Right.
If we can do that, then it's the perfect, dream,
Yes.
so to speak. So I
Yeah.
work with parents so that they
Good.
they don't feel I'm not an advocate, quote unquote, but
Right.
I work with parents to empower them to understand and that they
Yeah.
are the valuable player and that they can be and should be
Yeah.
not only the most valuable player, but the team leader as well.
Yes. It is overwhelming. I can remember many times feeling overwhelmed with so much information and really not even knowing what I was supposed to ask, knowing I needed to ask questions. I don't even know what I'm supposed to ask, during part of my son's, all of the things we went through with him, I had resources in that my mom, she was not in my district, but she was a special ed coordinator and was a diagnostician at one time. And so she had knowledge that I didn't have. And then I had other people that kind of helped outside, but going into those meetings and ours, it was me. And it was, some of it was scary, but I will tell you, I'm a pretty quiet person. I mean, I'm pretty, I'm not real bold until you mess with my kids.
There you go.
That's when I learned to be bold. That's one of the things I think those meetings helped with. Because if you don't, as a parent, advocate for your child, and not everybody has Teresa Cruz, to help them, it can feel overwhelming. And one of the things that I noticed after my son was grown, I worked in a school for 5 years. And I always saw the parent side of it. This is what my son needs. Why are you not doing this? Why am I not getting, all this? But then being in a school, seeing like where you were talking about all those boxes that have to be checked every day, how hard it is to get done what needs to get done because of everything else. I saw the other side of it. So there's got to be a balance with parents and with administrators. I wish everybody had the attitude that you have, that it can work out well. I mean, really, if you work together, it can work well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like that. If we work together, it can work well. And I think too, where we struggle is the systems and structures that are in place, from a federal, from a state, but they're the same systems and structures that it started with.
Exactly.
And so that whole piece of we have to design it differently.
Yeah.
Because what worked then isn't working now.
That's
even,
right.
Even the way, like we say we're a team, so we come in, right? But we're really little silos all sitting together.
Right.
Right. So I'm the speech pathologist. I'm going to do my testing. I'm the physical therapist. I'm going to do my testing. I'm the occupational. I'm the psychologist. I'm the social worker. And we all go and we all do our little thing with intent and with integrity. Right. But then we come back and we all report individually. So when you're a parent and you're sitting at the table and then the psychologist gives their report, then the speech pathologist gives their report, then the social worker gives their report, then the classroom teacher gives it, you're like,
yeah,
how much can you really take in and process? Right. So you're right. You don't know, like, if we need to look at how we design practices. And so one of the things that I love to do, because I believe in the power of imagination and innovation, is can we just start with a clean canvas?
Right.
Can we sit at this table and design it together
Yeah.
so that I'm not pulling you out for this service or that, but that the services and the program we design is integrated throughout the day. Wouldn't that be amazing?
It would be wonderful. It would be wonderful. On your website, you talk about 3 free things that you offer to people if they come to you. What are those things that you offer someone that is interested in your services?
So the first thing that I like to do is do a discovery call.
Okay.
And so, in terms of looking to that, and then I give free consultation and coaching. So I give, so that you get to see if we're fit or if I'm for you.
Okay. And you also talked about the 3 R's, how they can affect school leaders. What are those 3 R's?
So results,
Mm-hmm.
resources,
Mm-hmm.
and recruitment.
Okay.
So when we talk about resources, there's a shortage. So we talk about the management of resources in terms of that. Like it's a shortage everywhere. So sometimes you get what you get. So how do we use that effectively? In terms of to be able to provide quality services. The result is, what are we looking at student progress? Because every student can make progress. And then we look at the results of all of that, of what's happening. So those 3 things, recruitment, resources, and results, are the changes, the imaginative pieces that we got to do different.
What can you tell any parent that's listening from maybe not even from your consulting business, but just from your
Mhm.
position and all that you've done and worked with parents, what can you tell them to alleviate their fears as they're working? Because sometimes parents come into that, and it's not just that it's overwhelming, it's that they are going to assume that somebody like you is going to defend the school. You know what I mean? I'm working for the school, I'm working for these people. What can you say, just even from your position, what can you tell people, parents that coming into that?
I would say to parents, come in, be bold, but be open.
Yeah.
Let them know that you are here to
Yeah.
advocate for your child, but you are open and here's your expectation.
Yes.
So, your expectations would be that it would be true collaboration, that
Yeah.
want to be respected as a voice of the team, that you are open. You're
Yeah.
not here in an adversarial position, but you are an advocate. And
Yeah.
so to be open and let them know that this is where you are and that you do trust them. However, you want to be an active participant
Yeah.
you know. And I think too that when you do that, like when I would talk with parents to share that,
Mm-hmm.
I would say too, because the school systems that I've worked in are, like I said, the shortages, all of them
Yeah.
automatically puts them on the defensive, you know,
Right.
automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do when we can't, when we don't have those, or we don't have those resources? And so they come in to a degree with a level of defense. And I
Right.
think that when we can come and openly be open, be honest, operate with
Sure.
integrity, when a parent shares, what her position is, and the school needs to be open to share that. I think that's the beginning
Yeah.
of the conversation. And I think
Absolutely.
that's how it starts.
Yeah, it has to be a conversation between both, because I think parents can come in very defensive.
Yep.
And you know, and I've talked to parents. I mean, I'm no expert in anything. I just only have
Mhm.
my experience, but I've talked to parents who are afraid to tell the district what they want, or they're afraid to be bold, like that's going to be a problem. But I'm like, no, you have to be open. You got to tell them what you need or what you believe your
Exactly.
son needs. That's helpful to everybody when that happens.
And that's the whole piece. Sometimes it's not what you say, but it's how you say it.
Mm-hmm.
And tone and attitude and all
Sure.
those things, emotions matter
Oh,
because
definitely.
how someone says something and how someone perceives something
Yeah.
sometimes can be the sticky. But I think
Yeah.
and I just truly believe, if you're open and you're honest and we
Mhm.
come together,
Yeah.
and it's just like you said, not yet, we will take this thing and say we're all experts, but actually, I want to say we're experiences.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so come with those experiences, but come and be open. Like I would say to parents when they would ask questions, I would say, I don't know that answer, but I
Yeah.
will get back to you before this day is out because
That's
I'm going to
awesome.
find somebody that knows the answer,
Yeah.
and we have to be able to be comfortable enough to say those things. Like we don't
Right.
know everything. And each child, whatever their identification is, everyone is different.
Right.
When you talk about autism, there's a spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is different. And so you can't treat it as a one size fits all,
Right.
you
It's
know?
true.
And so I think that we have to really begin with that level of honesty because honesty will build trust.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can
Definitely.
trust you, then we can go far. So I
Yeah.
think that is, that's the way for me. That's how I've always dealt. Like, and I would say to parents, we don't have that here, but here's what we can do, and let's continue to work together
Sure.
to see how it is. But
That's
yeah,
wonderful. So are your services, do you go meet people face to face to do all of this, or do you do any of it online?
so let me tell you how I'm new. Let me
Yes.
tell you how I prefer
Okay.
face to face, right? Right.
Yes. Yes.
That's just my generation.
Yeah.
It's something about sitting across from someone and being
Mm-hmm.
able to just have that conversation.
Sure.
So, am I open and learning virtual and all those things? Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends on however it goes. And I'm still navigating how I'm doing things,
Right.
you know, but I'm open to all,
Yeah. Absolutely. So what's your favorite thing about what you're doing? I know it's probably emotional, some of it, and it's probably hard, but what's your favorite thing about what you're doing?
My favorite thing, I've been called to serve.
Mhm.
And so my favorite thing is serving, but my favorite thing is being able to communicate and connect. So
Yeah.
when I sit and listen and have conversations and imagine and create and cultivate things, that's my favorite part, to be able to say, okay,
Yeah.
this is what we have. It's like art. Like I'm just like the art with words or program design and
Mhm.
everything. And to be able to design how we
Yeah.
practice, how we provide services, that's my favorite thing.
I love
So
that. I love that. How awesome would it be for every parent to have what you're offering? Because even a smile, even a great attitude walking in makes a parent feel comfortable when they're
absolutely.
having to deal with it. I mean, it makes a big difference. So if only everyone could see your pretty smile when they walked into an IEP
And I
meeting,
would
an
always
ARD.
make it a practice to
Hmm.
sit next to parents. I don't
Oh,
sit
that's
as a,
nice.
I sit right next to the parent,
Yeah.
you know.
That is
And
brings
so,
great comfort, I'm sure. I'm sure.
and I always share with them one thing I learned very early in life, and I would say to parents, you are the MVP of this team.
Yeah.
Nothing can or cannot happen without your permission. And if
Wow.
there's anything at this table that you don't agree with, you have the right to say so, you know.
Yeah.
And I would let them know right off the bat. And
Right.
because it's true. And the law says it. It's just so embedded in so
Yes.
many other legal papers. But if
Right.
you were to simplify the rights, that's the rights. Those are
Yeah.
parents' rights.
Yeah. So
Learn
helpful.
those things too, in all honesty, because I
Yeah.
was a practicing speech pathologist. One of
Yeah.
the things that led me to take an administrative position was
Hmm.
because I had a student on my caseload, right? And he was going into fifth grade and he needed more socialization, right?
Hmm.
Because honestly, we couldn't give him any more. He had been with us since preschool. So I wanted to recommend an out of district placement for him
Yeah.
at a school that was designed for his
Right.
autism disease.
Yeah.
So that's unheard of because
Yes.
I'm now saying
Yeah.
that we can't do it.
Exactly.
And so it didn't get approved.
Mm,
And at that moment, that's when I said, okay, it is time. I had no desire to be an administrator. I didn't want to,
right.
in all honesty, but I said, never again will a decision be made to be
Right.
on. And so that led me to become an administrator and build a staff
Yeah.
to be able to provide services with character. And so
Right.
that was my never again moment right there. I was like,
Yeah.
you know, and I had to have a meeting with the parent privately and show her how to fight. He did go to that school,
Wow. That's awesome.
but
Yeah.
it was a shame that
Yeah.
we could not have had that conversation as a team.
Right.
You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
as a team. But she did everything that she needed to do to make it
Good.
happen for her son.
Good.
But those were my, just in practicing and I love children. So a
Mhm.
lot of what I learned in becoming a speech pathologist, I didn't learn in school. I learned from the students on my case.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
nice. That is nice. You can't be in special ed and not be affected by kids and kids. I mean, you just can't. I was in Starbucks yesterday and he was probably close to my son's age and he was clearly
Mm-hmm.
autistic and he was trying to order his coffee and having issues and I just wanted to go hug him.
Mm-hmm.
Totally
Mm-hmm.
inappropriate. But that is
But
where
you
my heart
right.
goes, I can't help it. And so anyway, well, I have loved learning about what you're doing, and I'm really hoping that I can get this out to some parents who just have questions, or maybe they're in that position and they're afraid to speak up or afraid to ask questions. Maybe that things that they don't know in those meetings. They
Mhm.
have every right to know. And so I think you're going to encourage a lot of people through this. Well, thank you so much. I have loved talking to you today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It is a pleasure and blessings to your business. You are just
Thank you
going to
so much.
expand and grow
Thank you
because
so
you are
much.
giving the voice to people. So thank you.
I love it. I'm honored. I say that a lot, but I mean it. I'm really honored to get to do what I'm doing. So it's just a gift to me. Well,
Yeah,
I hope you have
exactly.
a wonderful evening, wonderful weekend, and I will
You
talk to you
too.
soon.
Okay.
Okay.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too as well.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.